Hey, it's Keith from Outlaw Speed Shop, and this is the Silva Challenge Part 37 build. This is where Jim sent me a bunch of crap that I have to build something that is sci-fi, post-apocalyptic in nature. And I did an unboxing video previous to this one, so you can go back and look at that. So I kind of picked out the castings that I want, and, excuse me, I was thinking about doing this cab over pickup and the other older Hot Wheels Science Friction casting. It was pretty beat up anyway, so cutting it apart really was no, who am I kidding? I don't really care either way. But I had to put some bigger tires that I stole off the front end loader that he sent. So in order to do that and to get them to fit, I have to do a little bit of a modification to the metal chassis for the pickup, or for the cab over. And that's just narrowing the rear end just a little bit so the tires have some clearance. Not like they're going to roll. It's a, you know, kind of a Gasland style car anyways. But I figured, as you know, try to make it work the best I can without having to really modify the axles. And that's what I would have had to do to make it work. Extend them out another, you know, maybe a ½ inch total, and a quarter on each side. So by doing this, it just kind of worked out good. I can mount the tires in the axle underneath, which gave me the height I want, except on the front where the front fender really kind of rubs. You can kind of see right there. So I took some creative liberty and just pretty much hacked the crap out of it with a Dremel tool. I end up radiusing it out probably maybe 1/8 to 3/16. And then I end up cutting the front straight across, and that really gave me all the clearance I needed. And I didn't really need the front anyways because of what I'm going to do right here with this, the front end loader part, which is going to be like a bucket that's going to help plow the way through, clear the road, that type of thing. We're making, this is a make-believe thing anyway, so there are no rules, which is what I really enjoy about doing these kind of builds. It's a no pressure, have fun, do whatever you want, except for stuff like this, where a few people have made mention that, you know, I should be using a vise, and that's why. I pretty much put a hole in my finger. But that's not going to stop me. I manned up, rubbed some dirt on it, and kept on going, and I cried in my beer later. So back to the Science Friction. I got the wheels that Jim sent, and the 3D printed wheels. I want to be able to use them. There's these little nubs on the original casting that I have to grind off so that wheels will sit flush. The overall look and feel that I want. I didn't want to do like I did on the truck and mount the axle underneath. I wanted it where it was supposed to be. So in order to do that, I had to make some room. And this was a rear engine car to begin with, so that worked out well. I thought about putting them on the front, but I ended up going with a different set of, I think, Matchbox wheels that had a little bit of a rough, like right there, a little bit of a rough texture to them. And it seemed to work pretty good. It wasn't obscene, and it kind of gave it a little bit of a rake, which is what I was after. This was more of a chase car that would kind of lure people away from the caravan that would be the truck and whatever it was transporting. So in order to get more clearance, I'm going to hack even more out of the back of this car. And another reason I enjoy doing Gasland's post-apocalyptic style builds is I get to use my Dremel tool a lot. And if you watch any of my videos, nothing has changed since I've been away. I enjoy pretty much cutting things up, and a Dremel tool is my favorite tool. I know I can use a jeweler's saw. I can use whatever I want. I like a Dremel tool. I feel comfortable with it, and for this type of build, there's no precision involved, apparently. And I got to get rid of the back. Again, it's like a Volkswagen engine, so the pulley system was on the back, so I have to just grind that smooth. You're not going to see it anyways because I'm going to put a tombstone back there, but just so that it sits flush and it's another place to mount. Right here, what I'm doing is I'm raising up the motor just a little bit because it didn't sit the way I wanted it to height-wise. I wanted the bug catcher just to sit at a certain level, and that's, you know, kind of what I needed to do is just raise the motor up just a bit. And here I'm kind of playing around. I'm not using the initial piece that came with the casting, which had the siren on it, and then the little bit of a like a gun scoop thing. I don't even know what it was. Either way, I'm using a 3D piece that Jim sent. I'm trying to utilize as much as I can. And then I have this, I'm going to call it a brush guard, but it's just a really heavy iron looking ram. So I'm going to use that. I have to fabricate a little bit there to raise it to the height that I want and to be able to glue flush, because I'm not using the orange piece that came with the car, which had a little bit of a bumper attached to it. I mean, I probably could have clipped it and put it on there, but you're not going to see it, so there was no point. So I got that all done. You can kind of see from the top the look I'm going for. I've got the tombstone on. And now I'm trying to fill in that hole. Again, I could have used the piece with the siren, but I found a little radar. This is like the only piece I pretty much use out of my 3D printed stash. And I liked it. I thought it kind of fit with the original theme of the car. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick a tube or a square, I think it's 1/4 inch square tube down there. Maybe it's 3/16, I'm not sure. I don't look at measurements. So I kind of stick that in there so that it's going to have a secure place, and I don't have to worry about it just getting hit and falling off. And then I'm going to glue that to the bottom of that and then stick it in. That way I can orient it the way I want without having to worry about anything. So there you can kind of see how it all goes. I added some stacks. I'm sorry, that is the other thing that I took out of my collection. I surfaced it with that Mr. Black Primer, Mr. Surface 2000, whatever it is. So I have a K7 rear gate that Jim sent, and I know he didn't use it on his build, but I love the K7s, and I wanted to incorporate part of it into this. So what I did is, my original idea was to actually put the science friction car on the back of the cab over, but the scale wise, it just did. The cab over truck really isn't to scale, so it looked really silly on there. So I figured I'd make a trailer, and it gave me an opportunity by doing so to kind of fabricate a trailer and use that gate at the same time. So I just took some plastic I-beam, and I just drilled holes in the end for the little tabs that actually come on it. And you can see right there how it kind of rotates back and forth, and then the platform keeps the rails secure so it doesn't move back and forth. And then it's just making some side pieces. I use corrugated and regular styrene. Nothing fancy here. I kind of measured, kind of didn't. This was an afterthought. It wasn't something I was planning on doing. And I just thought it was kind of cool. And in order to mount the wheels on the bottom, it allowed me to use the fricking bus that he sent me. So it kind of had a little bit of a pleasurable feel to it, because I was able to destroy this bus. You can see right there. I put it in the vise wicked tight, and then I drilled out the base. I cut up the base, and every little piece I cut off of this bus made me feel even better. And those of you know what I'm talking about when it comes to this bus and the history of a bus in my channel, you'd get the irony of this. So Jim sent it along as a joke, and I figured I'd just beat the crap out of it and have a piece of this bus memorialized into this god-awful build that I'm doing. So here you can see I was kind of making some axles. I think those are K7 wheels from a custom that I had done. I don't throw anything away, so it kind of fits with the tailgate, so it worked out kind of cool. And then I'm just making a base for that to sit on. And he also sent me this circuit board, so I'm making a little platform. I'm going to stick that in there, then stick the wires. I just thought it kind of looked sci-fi-ish, and it worked out really well. The great part about these is you can do whatever you want. I've been experimenting with rust, and I picked up the ammo U-Rust kit. Not a fan. It's very good, but it's very finicky, and I've tried it a bunch of different ways. The color that you use makes a difference. They make it seem simple in the videos. It's a little bit more complicated, but it is good stuff. So what I'm doing originally now is just kind of going through, putting my base coats on, my silvers and my skin bone colors for the skull that I mounted on top the front cannon. I'll paint the satellite dish gray. So I'm just playing around with all the different colors and getting my base coats before I start weathering and using any sort of washes to get depth and stuff like that. I'm painting the inside of this battering ram yellow, kind of like a caution thing. There's no real rules, which is what I really enjoy about doing these builds. It's not supposed to be realistic to a degree, so you can kind of do what you want to do. And a lot of it for me, whenever I do these, you can see right here, I'm painting the windscreens silver, which was they were originally chrome, and I kind of kept with that original theme. I didn't feel like doing chrome, plus it was kind of hard, and I was kind of lazy. So, but yeah, you can pretty much play around and experiment like this. I experimented with the U-rust on this one. On the cab over, I played around back to my old thing that I know tried and true works, which is the Citadel Typhus Corrosion texture paint, then dry brushing Riser Rust over it, and I know that that works and it gives a nice realistic rust look. Here I was kind of going with, for the science friction, I wanted to kind of go like an acid rain type of look, like this thing had been left out, that, you know, they're scouring the wastelands looking for fuel and hookers in an acid rain style environment where, you know, the windows have to be completely sealed. You can't be, you know, out in the elements type of thing. And that usually has like a bluish white look, so you can see right there. And that's adding a bunch of different crap together. Don't ask me what I did. I just kept going until I found what worked. It was kind of a mix of the one of the black washes with U-Rust, and then a mix of the two activators that they have, the light blue and the dark blue, which is number 1 and number 2, and leaving them a little bit wetter, and that kind of gave that look. You can also achieve that look by putting those activators on and then using a heat gun to dry them fast instead of letting them sit for, you know, 12 hours or whatever they recommend. It gives you that same kind of look. So, and then on my little trailer that I made, I'm just playing around with all the, I think I used every single one that they make just to put on there. Back to the cab over. And I'm trying to, you know, keep this video within reason. I mean, I had 3 hours of footage. I'm trying to keep it under 20 minutes for a Gasland style build. So if I'm talking fast, I apologize. I'm also back to doing videos again, so I'm starting to, you know, trying to get back into my groove of talking. I like narrating through my videos. I'm not one of those guys that just shows the cars. As entertaining as those are, I like videos where there's actually people talking. You may disagree with me and mine, especially after listening to me. But regardless, after I've done the painting, the base coats for all of the cab over, I'm going to hit it with a Nuln oil, which is like a black wash, just to kind of dirty things up and grunge a little bit, just so that it'll accept, you know, the overall look and feel once I start rusting out the rest of the cab. And I'm hitting the whole body, since it's kind of a brownish color, with the Agrath Earthshade, which is a brown wash. So here I'm putting that Typhus Corrosion I was telling you about, which is a thick texture paint, and it works really, really well. It looks like mud, but it's got a little bit of a texture to it, but it's not as thick as mud. And then if you dry brush really light and just kind of build it up over time, you know, each pass, this Riser Rust is perfect for this. And it's been my tried and true, and, you know, I like to try different things, but I always end up going back to what worked. And but you don't know unless you try, and that's the whole point of these kind of videos. Is every time I do a Wastelands build, I learn something that I can apply to my regular builds. And I know a lot of people that watch me don't like Wasteland style post-apocalyptic builds, and that's fine. I'm 50-50 on them, but I use it as an experiment. So there's always something you can learn from every build, and that's what I try to do. And here I'm adding a little bit of dust, just to different areas that might get dusty, and it adds a little bit of a highlight also. So it serves multiple purposes by doing so. And I'm going to say my environment has a lot of dusty areas, so it kind of works out. Again, no rules. My rules. I can do whatever I want. And I wanted the science friction car to be really beat. I mean, I want this thing to look like it's been through World War III. And I think I achieved that. I achieved everything I wanted with this build. And considering it was a challenge, I enjoy these types of challenge where it's like, okay, here's the parts that you have. This is what you got to work with. And that's what intrigued me when Jim asked me. And I had I mean, literally, he asked me before I even came back and did a video after being gone for a year and a half or what, I don't know, 2 years. And A, it was a Gaslands post-apocalyptic style, and B, it was parameters. Here, this is what you got to work with, and I enjoyed that. So here I'm just doing a little silver dry brush to highlight some of the areas that make it look like sharp metal, because not everything would always be rust. Sometimes it's freshly scratched and then it'll rust. That's kind of what I'm doing, and it adds just a little bit extra from a texture standpoint. And I got to thank Jim. This was a blast. If you go to his channel, all the videos that he does, or as part of this series for the challenge, he's got a playlist. Watch them all. There's a lot of great builders. But I'm going to leave you with this for a second, and I'm going to be coming back at the end with something special. So right here you can see I've kind of got the car inside the thing, which is falling apart, which is great. That's kind of what I wanted. It is a chase vehicle. The gate does work up and down. I tried to make some tire tracks on the back. It fits. It works. It barely fit on my rotating, cool, mirrored table. The bucket does go up and down. Overall look and feel of this, I think I nailed it. I don't remember the last time I had so much fun with a build where, you know, excuse me, where I just didn't care. And I don't say that to say I didn't care about the challenge. I mean, I didn't care how this came out. You can see my truck is rolling off the table slowly. But I just really had fun with this. And you know, sometimes I had taken a break because things were getting stale and boring. I just felt like I was doing the same crap over and over again. And then I'd look at those guys in India that don't talk but can build anything out of anything, and it's just amazing quality. And they're, you know, you look at it, it's like you think you're doing well until you look at their stuff. It's like, oh my God, I'm like a toddler compared to what they're doing. But you know, you gotta kind of get over yourself. So. It is what it is, and sometimes you just have to suck it up and just try to get better and do you know. But I digress. So here are some glamour shots that I took in my new light box that I'm still learning how to take pictures a little bit better than what I've been doing previous. So the detail is pretty decent. Again, I can't really say for 100% whether this is realistic or not. I mean, it's post-apocalyptic. It's fun. I had a great time. I think in the end, that's all that really matters. But stay tuned. I got something special for you. Yes, folks, here it is. This is the Jim Silva Dirty Wiener. Actually, I call it that, but it's really clean. I think Jim would appreciate a clean wiener. He sent me this to do something with it as a joke, and I am doing something with it. And I think it came out very, very well. The wiener has a plow in the front because you want to make sure you can plow through the caves as you're trying to get your wiener from point A to point B. And I think that's very important. And the gun is more there for, if there's anything in the way, you can make sure nothing interferes with your wiener plowing. And the tracks are just for slow and steady. This isn't a race where getting your wiener to the other end is the fastest. The most. You just got to take your time. You can't just rush right into things and be out the other side in no time. You want to make sure you're going slow, especially when you're plowing. So I thought the tracks made a great addition, and I did dirty it up a little bit because down below, underneath the wiener, it's just a little dirty. So that's up to Jim if he wants to clean it up or not. That's his call. But it is going to get sent to him, and he can keep that and show this amazing rendition of actual scale wiener that, he can show it off in pride. He can bring it with him everywhere he goes. I mean, I can imagine Jim walking, to the Waffle House and, showing off his wiener and showing the waitresses. And, I do hope he brings it everywhere. So anyways, that's it for this one. And I will catch you on the next one.